Hello, Vanessa Webb Stampin Up Demonstrator Australia here. Thanks for joining us today. Today I'm going to be playing with the birthday card organizer kit, which is available in the online store. It's been around for a little while, but what I wanted to do was create a different type of card using one of the card bases and a couple extra elements to just change it up a little bit. These card bases come already printed, so you can add your own layers to them, which is what I'll be doing. I'm also going to be showing you how different or how similar some of the new colours are to some of the old colours. So this card base actually features soft succulent, which we no longer have. But I did want to point out that there are two colours that have come in that are quite similar in their tone and the effect that they have. So this is our old Evening Evergreen and Soft Succulent. I just wanted to show you, let me get rid of the dies, just show you how similar they are to our returning colours, Pretty Peacock and Lost Lagoon. And you will find that the Pretty Peacock and Lost Lagoon actually do coordinate with the green, the soft succulent green in this card base quite well. Even though it's not exactly the same colour, they do have similarities and enough, I think, to pair them together. So if you still have soft succulent cardstock, or maybe you've even got the ink pads in and you're still going to use them, and that's great. I'm going to be using the new colours just to show you how well they do go. All right, so there's quite a bit happening on this card. What I'm going to do is just fold. These cards come already scored, which is great. And that means that all you've got to do is just use your bone folder like that. They're double-sided, so that's a plainer side, and that is the side that we're going to be working with. It's got a little bit more going on. So there's a bit of a gingham pattern and a sort of a mottled pattern, and then another gingham pattern on the other side. So what I'm going to do is create, first of all, I'm going to stamp, and then I will create a bit of a collage with my stamping. I've got this set here, which I'm going to be using nature's prints and some of these lovely ferns and fronds as well. I'm going to use that splodgy stamp, and I'm going to grab one of the greetings at the end. I'm also using the nature's prints dies. Now these are still available in the new catalogue. They are sold separately. And the dies are actually standalone dies. You don't have to use them with the stamps. So they are in the standalone die section at the back. They are no longer a bundle, but it is a gorgeous set. If you don't have it, you can still add it to your collection, which is great. All right, so I have a couple of the stamps here that I'm going to be using. I'm just going to be using tone on tone. So we've got Lost Lagoon, which is our lovely returning colour. It's one of my favourite colours that has not been around for a little while. So I'm just going to stamp that tone on tone on a little scrap of Lost Lagoon cardstock. And I'm also going to stamp the larger fern, but that's going to be in Pretty Peacock. And I'm going to stamp that on this white piece over here, because I'll be cutting that out using the coordinating dies. It is great to have the dies with this set. So if you don't have the dies, then yeah, I can recommend you getting them as well as the stamp set. So there's my two fronds that I'm going to be cutting out in a second. I'm also, while I'm cutting that out on the same platform, I've got three of the smaller dies, which are from the Nature's Prints dies, and I'm just cutting them out of the, I can't remember what this is called now. It's one of our specialty papers, and that is also in the new catalogue. Let me just see if I can find it quickly. It's like that mottled kind of textured gold finish, which looks amazing. You can obviously use it as a background. There it is, number 10, Distressed Gold, 12 by 12. Just a little bit of this goes a long way, and it's really got that lovely burnished look to it. It's not too bright and sparkly, so it's great for sort of vintage style cards, and it's my go-to. All right, I've got a little word window here, also from the Nature's Prints dies, but I'm going to I'm going to emboss here. So I'll use my buddy, and I will grab this stamp here, and I'm going to stamp in Versamark. If I can find my Versamark, I think it's over here. There we go. Usually everything's within reach, but sometimes if I've been crafting lots, which I have lately, things are scattered all over my table. You guys just get to see the neat part, but that's okay. Okay, so I've got best wishes and happy thoughts. That could be for a birthday. It could be a thinking of you card. So I'm just going to use my card. I don't have my tray handy, but I'm going to use my card to catch some of the powder, and there it is. Doesn't have to be straight because remember we're cutting this out. So I'm going to give it a blast with the heat tool, and we will be able to cut all of these things out at once. Okay, so I forgot to say I'm using the white embossing powder, so that stands out really nicely against the Pretty Peacock cardstock. Just shut my Pretty Peacock ink pad. Love these two colours, so glad they brought them back. I think they are a good substitute for soft succulent and evening evergreen. All right, so there's all of my die cut pieces ready to go. I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I will line these all up. I love how this platform is big enough so that you can cut out multiple shapes at a time, and it just makes the whole process a lot quicker and easier, rather than having to cut them out individually. Of course, if you wanted to, you could use your mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine if real estate is a little bit tight on your crafting table. There's my greeting. Get that nice and straight. There we go. And with these two, I'm going to cut them out. I'm really liking that Pretty Peacock stamped on the white there. It's beautiful. And here is our Lost Lagoon branch that I've also stamped in the same colour. All right, just going to pop this on the top and run that through. So they're all cut at once. Super quick and easy. We've got a little bit more to go with the background before I start layering things up, and I'll show you what I am going to do. I also, I'm adding a little bit of gold with the gold leaf embellishments. So you will, you'll get to see me work with that. If you haven't used that before, that is really fun. And you will find that, you'll find that it sort of adds that extra kind of finishing touch to a project. And it's great to use with this gold specialty paper as well, because it kind of takes on a similar look. It all ties in together, as you will see. All right, so let me just pop this back down. So there's all my pieces die cut. How easy was that? All right, now what I'm going to do is bring back my card base, and I'm also going to just stamp a couple of these ferns in the background. So this is also another item that is in the Nature's Prints stamp set. There it is down there, and I think it really does lend itself to a nice background. So I'm going to use Lost Lagoon, and I'm going to stamp a couple of times without re-inking, maybe just about 3 times, like that. So you've just got a hint of movement in the background there. And then I'm just going to layer everything on top of that. But before I do, I'm just going to swipe over with my buddy, like that. And see this gorgeous splodgy stamp? You can actually see some gold leaf embellishment on there. You can tell I've been using it with the gold leaf embellishments. If you haven't played with this before, it's called Gilded Leafing, sorry. It comes in a jar and it comes all very compacted. So don't be alarmed when you first open the lid. It may explode everywhere. I actually keep mine in a little tray, so it tends to keep all of the flakes together. And then I just kind of pop my project in the tray and press the flakes onto the project where I'd like it to be. So I'm going to use this splodgy stamp, and I've got some heat and stick powder, which I will apply to the top. So I just want a hint of this gold leaf embellishment, maybe in about 3 spots, like that. So it's not an exact science when you are applying this heat and stick powder. You apply it over the top of Versamark. I just use Versamark then. And yeah, and it will just kind of grab where, I don't know if you can see that, where you've stamped. So if you've stamped it in an exact kind of pattern, this is not an exact pattern, you will see the heat and stick powder, and you can add, you can add the gold leaf embellishment sort of more precisely. But I love the look of this because it's very random where your gold leafing ends up. So we need to heat this using our heat tool. So I'm going to do that. Just pop the lid back on there. This is how you use your gold leaf embellishment. So grab your project and heat the heat and stick powder. So I've basically melted that heat and stick powder. I'm just going to melt it all again just to make sure it's nice and wet. And then I'm going to pop it straight in here, and I'm just going to get some of that gold leaf all over the top. Remember, I can pop the gold leaf back in again. So what I like to do is just kind of press it down where that heat and stick powder is. And it grabs where you've melted the powder, and you just kind of brush it off so that the excess kind of falls back into your container again. And you see how you've just got a little tiny bit, a bit of a speckled kind of effect in the background with that. Now, really important, you actually need to heat set this again. So I'll get this out of the way, and I'll pop the lid back on because we don't want this blowing everywhere. But heat setting it means that you actually won't get any of this falling off where you want it to be. So let me just do that. And if you've got any extra bits that you want to just rub off, now is the time. But the rest of that is going to stay put. And now that's ready for me to add my extra bits and pieces on. So I'm going to grab my glue, and we'll start off with this larger fern piece, just a tiny smidge of our glue on the back. And I'm going to pop that one there. And then we've got this little frond on the Lost Lagoon. I also want to add some of my little ferns that I've cut from that beautiful gold, textured gold paper. So I've actually got 3 of these. So I'm going to add one over the top here, and I'm going to add one at the back, just near the larger fern. You don't need a lot of glue to hold these on. And then another little one down here, which will be covered just a bit with our greeting eventually. Okay, so there's my layers starting to happen. Now our greeting is going to go down the bottom here, and I will use dimensionals for that. Everything else on this card is fairly flat because we are using a couple of different layers, as I said. See, I think all of those greens and bluey greens go together very well. So you can, in fact, use these card bases from the birthday calendar kit, card organizer kit, with our new colours. So that's really good to know. So I've got best wishes and happy thoughts. And just to finally, add a little bit of extra to the card, I've got some of our gold twine. I think it's called Elegant Trim, and also just some linen thread together. I like to use these two together because they kind of add to the vintage feel. And I'm going to just tie a bow. I can always trim this if it's too long, but sometimes it's nice to have a few little tails hanging down onto the card. It just adds to the texture. I'm going to swivel that up this way. So what I'll do is I'll show you my original card, which was made with Evening Evergreen and Soft Succulent. And you can see there is a subtle difference, but I'm sure that you agree you'll be able to use these same colours with any of your Soft Succulent or even Evening Evergreen cards that you might have, cardstock or embellishments that you might have still from the previous catalogue. I hope that you have enjoyed this little video, and I hope it's inspired you to make some fun cards out of the birthday card organizer kit yourself. You can always change it up and use the things that you have in your craft room. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.